Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm telling this story from my childhood for my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. Many years ago, as I was born in 1919, I was a little girl, but I don't know how old I was. And what do you say, banditen? Anyway, they came inside, two men, and they wanted my dad. And Dad wasn't around, so they took a whip and they beat my mom. And she ran to Grandma. That would be about 4 or 5 houses from us. With a whip, they beat her on her back, and in her coffin as she died, they could see her neck, and that was all beaten. She was beaten so much. Then after that, she had typhus, and then she died, and I was 8 months old as she died. So, and then later my dad got married, and what I didn't think it was right. My dad never told us anything of our mother. I guess he was not allowed to. He would tell stories when the Russians would come in and beat him, and once they wanted to beat my dad, there were 2 young guys, 19 or 20. First they take the sheet or the bedspread, they take it off the bed, put it on the floor, and they put in whatever they wanted. And then they were ready to go out, and they had a gun, and they pointed at my dad, and he quickly, the door was open, so he quickly went behind the door, and they shot, and the hole was in the door, could still see it, and they hit his ear, kind of, and he fell down, and the blood ran, but he got well again, but these guys, they ran. So what was next? Okay, and I remember when my dad in the evening, especially in the winter, he would sit close to the stove and he would tell stories. He just loved to tell stories. And he told this story, and Sadie said, "Mom, weren't you scared?" And you know what? It wasn't my mom, not my second mom, because my older sisters, they know that. You know, all those things, I don't know why, but I guess he was not allowed to say anything. When I worked with him outside, and he would say, "Oh, Erna, you had such a good mother." Or I remember once Helen told me when she came from Winnipeg. When we came from Winnipeg, we worked in Winnipeg, we took a train up to Plumcooly. And that's where Dad came and got us with horse and wagon. Later we had a car, but then we didn't. It was 10 miles to what's called now Rosetown, 10 miles. And Helen said, and then they were in the barn, see the house and the barn were together. Like, and then my dad had said, "Oh, Helen, you had such a good mother. When she would work, she would sing." And you know where Helen, my sister, has it from? From Mom. When she would milk a cow, she would sing. Just from Mom she has it. I'm not that way, but she is. But anyway, so life went on, and one day Mary was my favorite sister. She was quite older. We went to the cemetery. This is the village. Here are the houses. On that side are a few houses. There are lots of trees. You go through the trees, and there's the cemetery. And then she said, Mary said, "Erna, this is where our mother is buried." "Your mother," she said first. I said, "What? I have a mother." "No, our mother died, and this is where she's buried." And then I noticed why my mom always kind of loved Sadie more than me, you know. She wanted to do something. No. She was so, always talked back to the parents. I never did. So then I went and did things. Once she said to me, my mom said to me, I love Erna much more than I love you. When I tell Sylvie that, she doesn't like it. But I remember very well because I was always helping. She didn't like to do dishes, so I went and do the dishes, okay? But was too bad that my dad didn't tell all the story. But I remember when we went to Grandma Frey's, my dad's parents, to Grandma Frey's, we were all welcome. Sadie or I made no difference. You know, the younger sisters and brothers, no difference. We went to the Dicks. That's my second mom's parents. I don't remember any grandpas. I only remember Grandma. We came there, and then Grandma Vickers would say, "Oh, Zarate," that means Sarah, you know, and Abramte, and Kathleen, you know, and hold them all. I stood by the door. I was shy. So the last time we went there, Sunday, just before we left Russia, we didn't even say goodbye to them, because we packed at night and we left at night. Anyway, and get ready. Dad said, "Get ready, you want to go to Grandma Vickers?" I said, "No, I'm not going." I don't know how I had the courage to say that. "You're not going?" I said, "No, I'm not going." "Okay, you stay home with Callan and Susie and all the other sisters." Such a difference, okay? And then we, about Moscow, I don't know how many people we were there. Anyway, then one day, we were butchering pigs, and then my older sister and her husband and the children always came and helped. So Anna says to my dad, to our dad, "We are leaving for Russia, for Canada." And because they live closer to the city, to Hortic. I don't know Hortic was the city, but anyway. So they went home. My dad went to the city, got a passport. And my sister, Anna, they did not have enough money to buy the ticket. And the Yash, that means Jay, that told Anna, "Ask your parents, ask your dad," while they were at our place, helping butch and bake. And she didn't. She was too proud. And she didn't ask. And so my dad went the next day, got a ticket. It was in November, so it was dark, early. And he said, "All the shutters you close outside, all closed, and the dogs outside, because nobody come on the yard. And the dogs outside." And my dad came home, and we had supper already, so they ate in one of the bedrooms, Dad and Mom, not in the kitchen. And he said, "If somebody's at the door, you ask who's there. You don't open the door." See, we had a private police in our village. They knew my dad was on the list whom they would take. So we children, the older sisters, they got us ready, and we slept a little bit, but the older sisters, they packed. And then it was Uncle Bickert that drove us to the city. My dad would not sit on the wagon. He went through the garden. That was dangerous too. There could be some police there hiding. We had a big garden, and with all the fruit trees. And then he met us at the end of the village, and we went with the wagon. Uncle Bickert, he drove us, and at the end of the village, he got on the wagon. And then later they came, they wanted my dad, and he was gone. And then my dad said, when John comes home from the army, serving in the army kind of, in a few days, you sell and you come to Moscow. There was no such thing. We didn't have anything. We only had what we took along, a little bit of money and clothes, and that's all. They had to move out. There was John, wasn't married then yet, and Margaret and Mary and Susie. They had moved out. They moved to Grandma Frey's. And in this house, the shepherds, we had the shepherds in the village who would always take the cows in for grazing. No, this one. Can you get me water? Just a little bit of water. I cannot tell you. Maybe I'll write a book, maybe. I cannot tell you how many we were in Moscow. Quite a few. But as the communists started, they did like, there won't be any rich people nor poor people. We're all the same. So the shepherds, they moved in our house. The children and sisters, they had to move out somewhere else. Anyway, we came to Moscow, and I don't know for sure. We were there more than a week, I'm sure, but I don't know how long we were waiting that Germany would open the door for us. And finally they did, and we were many in Moscow, and Germany would take only so and so many, that's it. Now where did the rest go? Sure, they send them to Siberia. Yeah, no home anymore. Germany was so good to us. We lived in the barracks, one family to one room. We had bunk beds. We had different dishes along, a little bit of food. And then in the morning they would come bring us breakfast. At noon they bring us lunch and supper. And I always thought that Germany did all that for us. But then later I heard that NCC, like Canada, and they helped a lot with money or whatever. So that was December, but for Christmas we were in Germany already. And then the sad part was from traveling and cold, there were many children that died. They had the measles, and they came in the, where did we live? In the barracks. Yeah, they came from door to door with the nurses or the doctor ever. If there were sick people, they should write it down, and then later they came and picked them up. And Peter, he was 9 months old, and he was sick. And later his dad heard that they had written it down. Mom, why did you tell them? Well, I had to tell them. They went to ask who was sick. So they came and picked them up and had them in the hospital. Children died, you wouldn't believe it. Sometimes we had 5 or 6 coffins. Honestly, carried them on the street. Oh, my parents were so, especially my dad. He had only 2 boys, okay, John and Eve. And Eve was sick he had some kind of sickness. And then Peter was such a healthy guy, and he died. Anyway, that was in Germany. And then we celebrate Christmas. Oh, that was just beautiful. The program they had for us, and all the gifts, and it was just beautiful. Yeah, Germany treated us, believe it or not, Germany. And once I said, as I told the story, if Germany would have won, it would have been better, as I was on a tour. And later they said to me, the girl said, I don't know what are you talking about. Well, I said, Hitler wouldn't live forever. Sure, but it would have been better. If Germany would have won the war, look at what Russia did. As my sister, Anna, came later to Germany, her husband, Jakob, was sent to Siberia. And as the Germans came into Russia, then the Russians, they went from house to house. The Germans are coming out of the house, the Germans are coming. And my sister and family lived not far from the Dnieper. She went out, and she had seen it herself, how these Russian soldiers that chased them into the Dnieper, and there they drowned. And my sister and her family, Jakob was taken already, sent to Siberia, and they stayed there very close to the river. And then, next day, the Germans were there. Everybody was so happy. The Germans are here, the Germans are here. Of course, they had to go back to last war. And how many, if Russia would have treated their soldiers, their people, the way people should treat people, right? They would have never gone with the German people back. Never. Even the soldiers went with the Germans. They had to go back. Another thing I say, if the States hadn't helped, I don't think that Germany would have lost. It's because the Americans, they helped Russia. So what else have I to say? Okay, then we came to Germany, and then later we came to Canada. We were in Germany from December till March, And then by boat we came to Canada, and we were, and by Vickers, my dad's brother-in-law, and then later we moved to Blumenort, and my dad worked for the Clausens there, and my sister Helen worked for Clausens. They had 2 yards. In 1 yard they were living at the house, and then they had another house on the other yard, and that's where the hired men lived, like we lived there, till fall. We came to Canada in March. And then for winter we moved to Chambézy, and then we started school. And in Russia I was just beginning of the 4th grade. I was 10 years old. And here I went, no, I shouldn't say, I don't have much schooling anyway. I worked in Winnipeg, started for $10 a month. Yeah. And then my dad said when the first check you get to buy yourself a coat. See, as we were in Moscow, we had taken some money along, as much as Dad had, and we there. So we went in the store and we got us, me and Sadie and others, winter coats. But then I was 10 years old, now I was 17, so the coat was a little small, eh? But they got the big coat. So then, yeah, I went to the girls' home in Winnipeg, where the girls come if they want a job. It's a big home, and Lina F. and her sister, they took care of us, and sometimes when there were many girls, then they sometimes put an ad in the paper. And once you put an ad in the paper that they had girls, if anybody wanted for and so one lady phones, and Lina F., she said, this lady said that she had children, a family of children, this and that. And then Lina said, my girls don't want to work where there are small children. And then she was mad, and she said, put salt on their head and keep them there. Yeah. Then I got my first check, $10. But because I had to wait in the girls' home, of course you have to pay a little bit because you eat there, okay? So I borrowed some money from my sister Susie and Hal, they were in Winnipeg. And then I wrote my parents that I had bought a coat. So next I got a letter from my dad that upset me so much. A piece of paper out from the Eaton's catalog. There was a sale for a coat. And I got $10 a month, and $10 was a coat, so I didn't have to buy it enough, but my sister bought it to me. And my dad had even out of the catalog, this coat, that's what Sadie wants. And that hurt me so much because Sadie always got what she wanted. Couldn't they figure that out themselves? And the sale was only up to then and then, but I had to work a month to get $10. That hurt me so much. And I phoned my sisters, and they said, both said, Susie and Helen, Dad didn't mean it that bad, don't. But I cried. It sure upset me. I always thought, because I had a Sadie once, but it wasn't exactly that. She was taller than I, but I didn't have the money. It doesn't matter if I could send it home or buy a coat, but I didn't have the money. That was me. So then after I talked on the phone to Susie, she said, Erna, don't be so upset about this. So I came upstairs, I lay on the bed, and I was thinking about this. Then a voice said, Erna, you're tired. Get up, stand up, and pray. And go to bed. Right away I got up, and I prayed, Lord, forgive me, I have done wrong today. And then, oh yeah, another thing, go a little bit back. I had a newspaper, okay? It was on the floor because tomorrow I'll take it away as I came in through the door. And then as I came in, I put it on the counter. A voice said to me, lift it up from the floor. They said, put it back. I thought, what? Put the paper back? Put it right by the floor where it was before. And then I cried, and then anyway. And then get up, you are tired. Get up and pray and go to bed. I got up and knelt down and I prayed. See, not by my bed. Here was a chimney, it was on the third floor, okay? Here was a chimney, not in the middle of it, but it was a chimney, right up. And that's where I used to pray, close by. And then I prayed, Lord, forgive me, I've done wrong today. All of a sudden, I heard the door open and somebody stepping out in newspaper. Yeah, I turned my back, I couldn't see anybody. And there was my mother right behind me. My mother always had a longing for her. And I turned, there was nobody there. And then many angels behind me. My mother comforted me. I felt it. And then all of a sudden the heaven opened. And it was so bright, with my eyes closed, it was so bright. Then a voice, no, the heaven opened and there was a cross, empty cross. And then a voice said, "Say Troy, ich habe es überwunden für dich. Be faithful, I have overcome it for you." It was so beautiful. And then all of a sudden everything was gone. And see, that's why I should leave the people by the door. But they came in, the angels and my mom. I could hear them, the door opened, the door was locked, the door opened, they stepped on the paper, and they were behind me. And you know, I was not, that we were alone with that, but we never did. And then you know what, as we made a Fraser's book, Sadie was so, she asked Mom, weren't there any pictures from their close Mom? You know what my mom said? I burned them all. She didn't say burn, I destroyed them. Well, but that's the same thing. So no pictures. Only in the Fraser's book, where the whole family is there, my dad, my mom's looking down. That's the only picture I have. What's the difference? And the same here with the phrase book. The first phrase book you made, you should have put my mom in there. Kathleen had everything to do with it. Well, others too, but from our family, but only Kathleen. Never. Okay, that's it. Now I'll tell you something from, if it isn't right, I'll correct. There are Dicks on my condo. And Abram Dicks, you know, that's two families too. Maybe you don't remember. Tante Hani and Uncle Abram. Tante Hani, she's still living, that's my, Uncle Abram is my dad's, grandpa's oldest brother. And you know what they told me? As their mother died, and Agnes was the youngest, I think they were about 4. And then he told me if Agnes was old enough to understand, her father had taken her on the lap and said, I'll tell you a story. I was married before. No, he was married second time. The oldest children, their mother died. And then I married again. And then you were born. And then maybe there are 2 more, I don't know. The way he told the story, so she knew, Agnes knew. Tante Hani, that was her half-sister. Uncle Abram's wife, you know, and both of them. So. I hope that doesn't come out. And so nicely, well, I don't want, so nicely, he told the story. Now she they knew. So, you know, Agnes Dick married her aunt, his aunt. He did. Well, after Sally, because his sisters here and then married again. And, it's not related, blood related. Why couldn't our dad? He would have told us. That is it was very, very hard.